This is my sketchbook.
I've always wanted to be able to draw, so I'm going to practice every single day for the next year to see how much I can improve. On top of drawing Charlie, I want to be skilled enough to illustrate the B-roll that I'm never going to be able to actually film. I think I'm decent enough at drawing the rough blocking now to move on to doing the anatomy. It's April, and things were looking up. But then something bad happened. This is my nanny Linda. She died last week. I am never going to be able to finish filming her documentary, but there is something that I can do with this. I think I have to keep doing this. It's a distraction. I want to be able to draw Charlie. That's what I want to do. And I think a good goal to work towards would be eventually to do a self-portrait. I guess I just have to keep going so that one day I'll be good enough to finish what I started and tell her story. So, it has been a while. It's getting to the back end of May now, and well, I have had quite the month. It's kind of like everything went from 0 to 100 very quickly, with me getting more work. I was sick for a couple of weeks, and then everything with my nan. It has been a lot. But despite everything, I've kept going. I guess my general attitude is that no matter how good or bad things get, I'm not giving up. So, time for an update on my progress from the past month. The first thing I did following the torso was the arms. I followed various different tutorials looking at where the major muscles went, and just like the torso, I used colour for clarity. Firstly, you have the deltoid shoulder muscle at the top, with the bicep and tricep underneath. Note that the two muscles don't actually connect. Then underneath that on the forearm, you have two main forearm muscles, one of which goes down to the thumb, and one which goes down to the little finger. There are, of course, more, but from what I understand, these are the main ones that you need to emphasise. The thing that I need to remember in terms of proportions for the arm is that the shoulder and the upper arm is the same length as the forearm. I really need to make sure I get that into my head. The next thing I did after that was look at how the muscles change when the arm is moved. For example here, if you're in a bicep curl, the bicep sort of constricts and expands, whilst the opposing muscle, the tricep, stretches out. Following this, I looked at how the arm connects to the torso at the shoulder. As you can see, if the arm is down, the shoulder is stretched and relaxed, but if you hold your arm up, then the shoulder muscle all crunches up like this. So that's about it for the arms. Next, I went on to the legs. So as you can see with the blocking and the proportions, the pelvis plus the upper leg is the same length as the lower leg, the exact same way how the arms were proportioned. Moving on then to actually adding the muscles on top of that, you have these three shapes at the front here, which are the quads, with the middle one sort of going up to where the ball joint of the leg would connect with the pelvis. At the back here, you have the glutes, and on the back of the upper leg is this large muscle representing the hamstrings. At the back of the lower leg is the calf, which kind of splits down the middle, and on the front there's a single muscle that sort of wraps around the shin. Following that, just like I did for the arms, I looked at how the muscles move when the leg changes position. So here, for example, if someone squatted down, you have the hamstring pulling up the lower leg, whilst you've got the core and the upper quads also doing work. And then, just like the arm, the opposite muscles stretch. So you have the lower quads towards the knee and the glutes both stretching out. What I've really started to understand is that it's all about remembering when in a certain position, what muscle is doing the work and what opposing muscle is stretched out. Whilst I was following various tutorials here to learn this, I would actually get up myself and sort of squat down and stand up on my toes to reaffirm this, and you can really feel what muscle is working when you're in different positions. But yeah, that's it for the legs really. Next, you'd think I'd want to start putting the entire body together, but there was still some gaps in my basic knowledge which I was missing. Firstly, the function of the torso, which is greatly affected by how the legs and especially the arms are working. For example here, if you sort of fold yourself over, pulling your arms forward and your legs up, everything on the front bunches up. However, when the opposite is happening and someone is standing up tall and pushing out their chest and leaning back, everything on the front stretches out. The key thing that I need to remember and get into my head is that muscles contract when working and expand or stretch when the opposing muscle is working. It seems obvious, but it can be difficult to remember whilst drawing. It is, however, a bit unlikely that I'm going to be ever drawing these really extreme poses, so something that is a bit more natural is one like this, where you have each side really showing how they can be asymmetrical as each arm and leg does something different. Now, to complete my basic knowledge, the only thing I was missing now was the back of the torso. So the blocking for the back is very similar to the front of the torso, however the muscles are very different. You have the upper back here with this diamond in the middle and the shoulder muscles overlapping. Below that is the lower back, which kind of goes down in a Y shape to the tailbone, and then to the sides of that Y shape is actually the side muscles from the abdomen wrapping around. And then above that Y shape, you have two little support muscles as well. Aside from that though, not including details like the hands and the feet, I've pretty much covered the anatomy for the entire upper and lower body. So, what next? Now, it does feel like I spent ages practicing the blocking, then the torsos, and suddenly rushing through the remaining body parts. I mean, look at this. Here in the blue sketchbook, all of this section here is torsos, whilst in the red sketchbook, all of this section here is the arms, legs, torso function, and the back. Just compare the two. They're almost the exact same width. But there is a reason for that. It's May. I started at the end of September. I'm pretty much 2/3 of the way through this challenge. If I don't pick up the pace, I might not get anywhere near to reaching the goals that I set. Plus, the more I've been doing this, the more my confidence has been growing. The approach that I have taken, starting with the shapes, looking at how the shapes put together make a figure, looking at references and blocking, and then doing the anatomy on top of that, it's working. Remember back when I was drawing the shapes of animals? It took me quite a while to just gain the confidence to make them a little bit more detailed, then even longer to feel confident just drawing simple figures based off of reference images. But now, I can look at a few tutorials, some reference images, and a couple ebooks, and then draw the muscles with relative ease. I've got my foundations. I know how to draw a figure based off of a reference image. I know how to draw the blocking for the torso, arms, and legs. How the muscle fits on top of that blocking, and then finally, how the muscle changes and moves when you put the body parts in different poses. Now I need to gain the confidence to put all of this together. Then I'm finally closer to drawing my nan, my self-portrait, and also somehow fitting Charlie into all of this. In fact, maybe that could be my big final drawing. Myself in my graduation gear, next to a drawing of my nan with Charlie beside us. maybe that's the ending that I'm working towards. Looking at the last 4 months that I have left, I don't think I'm going to have the chance to draw environments or vehicles or houses, all things that I do want to do someday. But I can see myself doing that. A drawing of me, my nan, and my dog. So my next step is to put everything so far together, drawing the blocking of a figure in a pose and adding on the muscles. In fact, what I might do is, if I look at these previous figures that I've done here in the blue sketchbook, I might take some of these and see if I could just improve them with actual proper anatomy. Yeah, that's what my next step is. I'm very tired.